A boundary often sounds colder than it really is. People hear the word and imagine a wall, a locked door, a hard no, someone stepping back with their arms crossed. So when a relationship matters, setting a boundary can feel like betrayal. You may think, if I really cared, I would be more available. That is how many people confuse closeness with unlimited access. But a boundary is not always a wall. Sometimes it is a light. A wall blocks, but a light reveals where the floor ends. It shows where one person's responsibility stops and another's begins. It helps both people move without stepping on things they cannot see. Without that light, relationships become guesswork. One person keeps saying yes, while quietly becoming resentful. The other person thinks everything is fine, because no one said otherwise. One person expects mind reading. The other mistakes silence for agreement. Then a small request becomes heavy. Not because the request is terrible. It becomes heavy because it lands on top of many unspoken ones. This is why people who avoid boundaries often experience sudden anger. The anger feels sudden to everyone else, but inside, it has been collecting receipts. Every time you said yes when you meant not tonight. Every time you answered immediately while needing rest. Every time you explained yourself to avoid disappointing someone. Every time you accepted a conversation that cost more than you admitted. A gentle boundary turns one lamp on. It can sound simple, like I cannot talk about this tonight, but I can tomorrow. I want to help, but I cannot take this on. Or please ask before coming over. I need the evening to recover, because these sentences are not punishments. They are just information. The problem is that information can feel dangerous if you learned that love must be earned. So the body panics, you over-explain, you apologize for needs that are not crimes. You soften the sentence until it disappears. But a boundary does not become kinder by becoming invisible. It becomes kinder when it is clear enough to prevent hidden resentment. A useful test is this. Does your yes still feel like a choice? If yes has become automatic, then no will feel violent even when it is reasonable. A boundary is not the opposite of connection. It is one of the conditions that lets connection stay clean. Sometimes love needs warmth. Sometimes it needs honesty. And sometimes it needs a small light on the floor, showing the line before anyone trips. That is the relationship feeling. The cleaner mechanism is this. A boundary becomes clearer when you separate access from care. Care means the relationship matters. Access means how much time, attention, emotional labor, and availability you give. Many people never separate those two ideas. So when they reduce access, they feel as if they are reducing love. That is why over-explaining becomes so common. The person is not only communicating a limit, they are trying to prove they are still good. They add reasons, apologies, softeners, alternative plans, emotional footnotes. They add little self-betrayals until the boundary becomes a paragraph no one can follow. In relationship psychology, resentment is often a delayed boundary. It is the feeling that appears after a person has been silently paying a cost they never named. The resentment ledger fills quietly. One extra call, one unwanted visit, one joke that hurt, one request accepted while exhausted, one conversation that happened only because saying no felt too dangerous. By the time anger appears, the other person may be confused. They saw agreement. They did not see the bill. A better boundary has 3 parts: the limit, the care, and the next available option. If one exists, I cannot talk tonight. I care about this, and I can talk tomorrow. I cannot take over the task. I can help you think through the first step. I do not want jokes about that. We can talk about something else. This structure matters because it keeps the boundary from becoming either a wall or a surrender. Repair conversations matter too. If a boundary comes late, it may arrive with more force than intended. A repair can sound like, I should have said this earlier. I let it build up, and now I want to be clearer. That sentence does not erase the limit. it cleans the doorway around it. The professional point is that healthy boundaries are not only about saying no. They are about making the cost of yes visible before it becomes resentment.